You're listening to Ideal Practice, episode number 122. As this episode goes live, we have about 2 weeks left in the third quarter, and we're about to head into Q4, guys. Now, I am a huge believer in the power of planning. You know that, and there's a reason why I revisit this process on a quarterly basis, because I want you all to develop this as a habit. But today, I want to talk a little bit about what to do when life throws lemons at you and the plans just don't work. Because that's kind of the kind of year I'm having, everybody. And I want to share that with you and some of what I'm learning. Stick around to the end, though, because I do have a process I want to walk you through and a free tool that I can share that will help you work through this on your own. It's going to be good. So, stay tuned. Hi, I'm Wendy Pitts Reeves, and with over 2 decades of experience in the private practice world, I've built my 6-figure business while learning a lot of lessons the hard way. This is the first podcast that shows you how to apply the principles of energy, alignment, and strategy to build a practice that is profit-centered, but people-forward. This is the Ideal Practice Podcast. Hey, everybody, this is Wendy Pitts Reeves, your host here at Ideal Practice. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I'm happy to be hanging out with you today. I have been thinking a lot about what I want to share with you because, as I mentioned in the intro, I do think it's really important. There are certain business rituals, just like there are certain personal rituals that help us all stay on track, that help us keep moving forward, that help us, maintain momentum towards the kind of not just like financial success, but developing the ideal practice that I know you want to have, which includes, by the way, your life, not just your work, but your life. I want to talk about that, but this year has been kind of tough, and all the plans in the world can be really challenged when life throws things at you, right? So I felt like I wanted to share some things with you that I don't always talk about here on the podcast. I've been thinking a lot about how I can be more transparent with you to let you know when things aren't rosy, because sometimes they aren't, and what we can do about that. So to put things in perspective, because I'm such a big planner, when 2024 took off, back in January, I had spent probably 4 to 6 weeks before that doing extensive planning about what I wanted to have happen this year. I was so excited about my mastermind Evolve because I had just completed the first year and the first cohort with that, and we had such a blast in that group. Like, it really, really went well. Everyone who was a participant in that group made real progress. I had a few folks who wanted to work with me at a higher level, the VIP level afterwards, and continue to do really good work, and still to this day are doing really good work. It was just great. And I had big plans for how I was going to build on that this year, starting with very specific stuff I wanted to talk to you about in January and February. And anyway, I had this big launch I was going to do. Well, life got in the way. In the month of January and February of this year, my mom got sick, had a couple of emergency room visits, needed a lot more help, more support. She is in her early 80s, and life has been challenging because she had been taking care of my dad. She was really tired and sort of wore herself out, which is a lesson for all of us. Because she needed more help, we moved her from her home in South Alabama to a place near us here in East Tennessee. That was actually a really good thing, but that was a big thing. And we had already been through the process of moving my father here. I can't remember what I've shared with you all and what I have not, but my father had dementia, vascular dementia. He'd been diagnosed several years ago, and he was near the end of his time. And we had moved him here already a few months before that so that I could play a more active role in his care. So my dad was here, and then we moved my mom here. And literally within 2 weeks of getting her up here, my dad passed away. Now, when I tell people that, of course that was awful. Of course that was awful, but it was also a mercy. So I want you to know that. Those of you who have been through something similar, you will understand what I mean by that. I am extremely close to my parents. They are amazing human beings. They were married for 64 years, joined at the hip, a really awesome team in every sense of the word. And we were extremely close. So it's losing my dad was tough. But dementia is a hard thing. And so I felt nothing but peace in the way all of that unfolded. The very day that was happening, I was supposed to have a conversation with a client who wasn't happy with me. I had a client who was not, I'm going to tell you this because this happens. I had a client who, in spite of my best efforts, did not feel like she was getting what she expected or wanted from our working relationship. And we had set up a phone call to process through that and kind of decide what to do. And literally half an hour before that phone call, I got a call from the facility where my dad was, letting me know that he had entered the active dying process and I probably needed to come. That was a really tough day. It was a tough day, but it was a tough day that ended beautifully. And it's not relevant for this conversation, so I won't go into too much detail, but I will just say, under the guise of what I was talking about last week in terms of noticing the good things that happen, being aware of the bright spots that are all around you, there were what I can only describe as angels all day long. Like there were so many things that happened that day, so many magical things that happened that day that I felt like were little bits of love from the universe just kind of saying, don't worry, I got you. That's what it felt like all day long. And it really was a perfect day for such a hard thing. It was a perfect day. And he was taken care of and is okay. And my mom and I were both with him. So all of that was good. But that was literally happening in the middle of a few week period when I was supposed to be in the middle of that big launch. Well, obviously that didn't happen, right? That was the first of lots of lessons like that this year, because that's the kind of year it's been. So here's the thing. Here's the problem. Planning is a key part of any successful business. And we guys, those of us who are in the healing world, those of us who are, psychotherapists, energy healers, those of us who are wellness kinds of people, we work intuitively and we often feel our way through things. But y'all, you got to plan. You can't run a practice without planning. But your personal life is not separate from your business life. Far from it. I don't care what anybody says. There's that old saying that it's not personal. It's just business. It's not personal. That's a bunch of BS. It's all personal. Your work is it's your heart. I know it. You serve your clients from your heart. You run your business from your heart. And you still have your life, the rest of your life, right? So sometimes our business has to adapt as our plans have to change. Even when I'm recording this, I am recording this a few weeks earlier. At the time I'm recording this, we had just had a full moon in Aquarius. Mercury is in retrograde at the moment of this recording, which means the energy has just been kind of nuts all over the place. And I'm seeing it in my own life and I'm hearing it in my client stories. It's really sort of especially nuts right now. But y'all, life happens, right? I mean, the world keeps moving. The rivers keep flowing. Energy keeps flowing. The problem is, how do you keep things going through the inevitable challenges that are going to come your way? How do you protect the momentum and the success and the life of your practice and still tend to your family and your own self-care when life gets harder or crazier or more intense? You got to learn how to do that. You got to learn how to do that because if you're not careful, it's really easy to find yourself on either side of what I think of as kind of two extremes. You can, for some of us, We can be too rigid about our commitments. That's where I tend to go. Like way back years ago, I injured my hand really bad. I had bad enough that I had ended up having to have surgery. And the day that the injury happened, this was back when I had a blog. I was publishing a blog every week, like clockwork, on Sunday morning. And that injury happened on Saturday morning. And I hadn't written my blog that week. And my main concern, even though I was it was a really bad day too, and I was like really hurting. But I said, I've got to get my blog done. And when I realized that I could still type, even with an injured hand, and I could still get my blog done, I was okay. Well, I'm going to tell you, that was crazy. That was absolutely crazy. That's an example of being too rigid, that when life happens, I still have to do this no matter what, damn it. That was a mistake. The other end of that extreme is being too loose. Just throwing your hands up in the air and going, oh, well, I can't do this at all. I just won't have a blog anymore. Or I'll close down my business. Or I just won't bother filing those claims. Or whatever it is. Like, either extreme is not healthy. You have to find a way. You have to find a way to stay in the middle. So what do? How do you find that middle ground? How do you find your way back to center where your business is still okay? Your clients are still taken care of. Your income is still protected. Your health is still protected as well. How do you manage all that? Well, I've got a few ideas. In fact, as I think this through, I'm coming up with a 5-step process for how you can get your business and your body and your brain, your whole self back into the game. I'm going to talk you through exactly how to do this today, guys. But first, let me just speak to this planning thing. If, like me, you also know you have found that planning helps, and that planning rituals, that setting aside specific times to plan on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, a quarterly basis. If you have found that's really helpful, and that you know that it helps to evaluate where you are in your practice, to set some intentions and strategies in place so that you can keep going, then you might want to join me in December. Now, this is way out, but in December, I am going to do the workshop that I started last year for the first time. It's an annual planning workshop. I love doing this. I essentially am sharing my personal process with you. I have a very complete, holistic type of planning process I go through where I plan out for the next year. And I'm going to do that again with you guys this December. If you want to get on the list for On Purpose 2025, it'll be a half-day workshop. If you want, we'll do it on Zoom, but if you want to get on the list for that, or you want to be notified when I'm ready to start opening the doors to that, just shoot me a text through the link in the show notes below, or send me an email at wendy@wendypittsreeves.com and tell me, and I will add your name to a list. I'm not promoting that yet. It's too early, but I am going to be doing that. So I just want to mention that since we're talking about planning today. It'll be On Purpose 2025, and it will be in December. And it's fun. It's really fun. So it's so great to hang out with other business-oriented folks and talk about all the exciting things we're going to do next year. All right, so let's talk about how to find your way back to center when life throws you off balance. You have a business to run. I know that. Well, so do I. You have loved ones and yourself to tend to. So do I. So what do we do? Well, planning rituals can become the anchor, the guardrails, the foundation, the support you need to keep yourself on track or to get back on track at any given point. You can do this at any time that you find yourself struggling, what I'm going to walk you through today. But I want to use this time at the beginning of Q4. October, November, December. We're heading into that period. I want you to think about the next couple of weeks, and I want to invite you to do what I'm going to call a full body and business reset. A full body and business reset. If, like me, your life has been kind of nuts, You might need this too. I know I do. So I'm really kind of talking through for you what I need to hear myself. That's what I'm doing today. We're going to talk through five steps to this process. All right. The first one, step one, is to clear the decks. Clear the decks. Let me tell you what I mean by that. First, I want you to clear your calendar. I think it would be great if you took a whole day, or for that matter, a whole weekend if you really wanted to, but at least clear 4 hours, a half day. At least mark off 4 hours that you can devote to this process. Clear your calendar. The next thing I want you to do under this is to clear your desk. Seriously, clean up. Clean up the paper piles. Clean out your planner. Get a fresh journal. Get a new notepad out or something like that. Clean off your workspace so that it is clutter-free and it feels good to look at. If you're going to do this process there, you might not, but if you do, you might want to light a candle or burn some incense. That's what I do. But I want you to clear your calendar. I want you to clear your desk. Clear the clutter. I want you to clear your energy. And the best way to do that is to move your body, guys. Move your body somehow. Go for a walk. Go do some yoga. Go get a massage maybe. Dance around your office or in your backyard or on your front porch or in your car. A really nice thing to do is to go sit by moving water in particular. Moving water is releasing ions. There's a reason why you feel better sitting by a rushing creek or a river or the waves at the ocean. That's especially helpful to clear your energy field. Clear your energy by moving your body somewhere away from your desk. And clear your mind. Now, clearing off your desk and the clutter is one way to do that. Moving your body will help with that. I think it helps to go to a neutral place and just think for a while. Just literally get a cup of tea or a glass of wine if you want to. You could do this in the evening. I don't care. I want you to think. I want you to reflect. I want you to feel for a while. Just allow yourself to just sort of sit for a few minutes and just let all the silt settle back down to the bottom of that crazy rushing river that is your head these days. So step one in this process of a full body and business reset is to clear the decks. That's getting ready to do the work. You with me? Okay. Step two, once you have cleared those decks in all the ways I just said, I want you to reflect. Now, by reflect, I don't mean just think back. I do want you to think back over the last 90 days in particular. So July, August, September. Just the last 90 days. Think about what's happened in your life. Think about what's happened in your heart, in your relationships, in your spirit. Think about what's happened in your practice, in your business, positive and negative. And then I want you to not just review that, but reflect upon it. What meaning do you attach to what's happened, positive or negative? What stories are you telling yourself about the last 90 days? What lessons have you learned or ahas or new awarenesses do you have about yourself as a business owner, as a practitioner, as a human being? What new awareness do you have about your business? What have you learned about your business or your clients or your systems? Any of it. What can you celebrate? What are the wins that you can identify over the last 90 days? I find that people are really quick to tell me about all the things that went wrong or all the things they didn't do. And I'm right there with you. But it does help to reflect about what was good in the last 90 days. This is step two. I don't want you can journal during this period. You can make a bullet list in this period. You can write with a marker on plain sketch paper. You can do whatever you want to, or you can just sit and watch the water and think about it. That's fine too. If you feel better moving around, stand up in your office and write stuff on a flip chart or on a whiteboard if you want to. If that feels better, Do whatever you need to do to get your mind going. But my personal favorite is to sit somewhere where I can think and just sort of observe something around me and let my mind go for a minute and just ponder. What happened? Where have I been for the last 3 months? That's step 2, reflect. Step 3, after you've given yourself a good, 15, 20 minutes or so, then I want you to reevaluate. It's funny that I'm doing these words. I'm in the middle of Mercury retrograde, so of course this is what I'm thinking about. Reevaluate. As you are reflecting, think about the big goals that you set for the whole year in general and for this quarter in particular. What had you hoped to get done this quarter? In your personal life, for you yourself, in relationships, in your health, in how you're handling your money, and in your practice. Where do you stand on those goals? What did you get done? What did you not get done? What happened? So here I am asking you to start writing stuff down. So you spent some time reflecting. You cleared the decks so that you could think. And now you spent some time just kind of remembering and reflecting upon the meaning of what you remember. And now with pen and paper, I want you to reevaluate. Where do you stand on those goals now? Where do you stand on those goals? How far did you make it? And how do you feel about those goals now? Okay. And then step 4 is I want you to refresh your approach to and your ideas about those goals. So what do you need to do here? Do you need to add something? Is there something that you're not doing that you might need to do? Do you need to stop something? Is there something you've been working on or trying that maybe it no longer fits? Do you need to just change something? So for myself, as I think about quarter 4, or really what I've been through in the last quarter, because I told you it's been kind of tough all year long, one of the things I decided to do for myself was I needed to add something. What I added was I began to focus really intensely on the process that I use to promote and produce this podcast for you every week, because that was something I could do something about. It's something that made sense for my team, for us to grow this the way I want to grow. I want to interview more people. Well, interviews take a lot of work to set up. I wanted to get a process in place to make that easy. That was something I could do even with all the stuff that's going on in my life. Okay. So what do you need to add? For me, it was adding a better system around the podcast. What do you need to stop? Well, for me, I stopped promoting my mastermind. Now, I am hoping to get back to that. I am going to get back to that. But for the first 3 quarters of this year, that has not been in the cards. I actually was going to try it a second time in the middle of the summer. Couldn't do it because life kept happening, right? So what do you need to stop that you thought you were going to do? And what do you need to change? For me, one of the things that I have started to work on is I want to add a yoga class to my weekly calendar, and I want to add an energy healer of some sort. And I've got some ideas that I'm exploring around that. What do you need to change? And then the 5th step. So let's talk about what we've done. We cleared the deck so that we could think. Step 2 was to reflect upon the last 3 months and the meaning of what's happened. Step 3 was to reevaluate our goals and intentions for those 3 months and decide where we stand on that stuff now. Step 4 was to refresh our approach to those goals. Do we keep them? Do we stop them? Do we change them? Where do we want for the next 90 days, the next 3 months? And then step 5 is to recommit. Recommit. All right. Taking into stock where I am today, what I've got available to me today, how much energy I have today, what is required of me today. Here's what I think I can do in the next 90 days. And y'all, one thing you might think about doing with this is if I don't do anything else, I'm going to get this one thing done. And then have a backup. If I get that done, it would be cool to do the second thing. And if I did it really was ambitious and life just really clicked, maybe I could do this third thing. But I really love it if you choose one specific, if I don't do anything else in the next 3 months, I want to get this one thing done. Choose that. Something that's going to move your practice forward. because that's so much easier to manage. To make this easier for you, I want to share with you a resource that I use for my quarterly planning. It's a quarterly success checker, is what I call it, the quarterly success checker. Where am I successful and what do I need to adapt to be more successful? It's a tool that walks you through a reflective process. It would be great to use as part of this, what I just walked you through. You can get your copy of it. Go to wendypittsreeves.com/quarter. wendypittsreeves.com/quarter. Follow the prompts and you will get a download. You'll get a download to a PDF that you can fill it out online, or you can print it out and complete it. My coaching clients use this themselves, and then we hop on a phone call to talk through what they come up with as they work their way through this process, because it really does help us guide their plans and intentions for the next 90 days. This is how you stay on track. This is how you keep your business moving forward, even if it might move a little slower for a while. It's okay. It's okay. This is what you do. I'm not going to lie, guys. It has been a tough year for me, and it hasn't gotten any easier. I lost one of my dogs in June. My sweet, y'all have heard me talk about my collie. Her name was Sweet Ava. We called her Sweet Ava Longnose. We lost her in June, and then in July, my mother fell and broke her hip. She is in recovery and doing well, and I am hopeful that things are going to be okay. But of course, that has taken a whole new level of energy and prayer and support to pull her through that difficult time. So it's just kind of been one thing after another all year long. But I am not here to complain. I am not here to focus on the negative. I am here to say that my practice is strong. The podcast is strong. I am still here. I still love what I do. I am still honored by this work. I just understand that the universe is telling me that there is a season for everything, and that I just need to simplify things for a while and be present to what is real right now, which means I need to be more available to my family, and I need to protect my own energy. So I'm doing my own quarterly review, just as I'm teaching you here. I'm focusing on my podcasts. I'm focusing on my counseling practice and the women's leadership support group that I have that's called Accomplished. I'm putting some work into that. And I'm making sure to schedule in the kind of practical and energetic support that I need. I hope you are doing the same. I hope life is good for you, but even if it's a little challenging, I hope you will use the practice of ritual to reflect on where you stand and follow this process. Clear the decks, reflect, reevaluate, refresh, and recommit. Because you really can do this. It will be okay. You just got to keep going. But you don't have to keep going in a way that is painful and unhealthy. You can keep going in a way that works. That's my wish for you. All right, everybody. Remember to go get that quarterly success checker at wendypittsreeves.com/quarter. Find that and fill that out. I think you'll find it helpful. All right, that's what I got for you today. I hope it's helpful. Have a great week, everybody. And I will see you next week, right here on the Ideal Practice Podcast. Bye now. Hey, y'all. If this program has become important to you, if Ideal Practice matters, it would mean so much to me if you'd be willing to take just a minute to do one or two of the following things. First of all, would you follow or subscribe to the show here at Ideal Practice? Following me helps you because you'll never miss an episode, but it helps me as well for all kinds of reasons. To do that, all you have to do is go to the show page for Ideal Practice on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. There, just click on the plus sign that you'll usually find in the top right-hand corner, or click on the word follow that you're going to find somewhere there on that page. Of all the things, this really is the most important thing you can do for the podcast itself. While you're there, it would be extra special if you would be willing to give me a 5-star rating, and even better than that, a review with your own words. Your words matter. And when you write what you feel, what you think, You uplift and encourage others, and I love that. If you want to go a step further than that, take your favorite episode or two, one of the ones that has meant a lot to you, and share it with a friend. Could you do one or two of those things for me? I promise I will love you forever. You guys matter to me, and I value your support more than I can possibly say. Thank you, sweet friend, for anything you can do to help me out and support the show. I'll see you again soon.